There, how we doing? We're the end of the series, Build Back Better. The particular one that we did about the first thing we did was believe, Build Back Better, believe. Then we did meditating on how to meditate, on God and love. Then we moved on to we're staying strong and getting stronger. And then the last one that we did was nurturing our spirit. So I'm going to go through that a little. Before I do, I'll tell you that the soundscape is Stephen Halpin, Deep Alpha, and it's from the Deep Alpha album he did in 2012. So that's really beautiful. I can't even tell what instrument that is. It sounds like a harp, but I can't really tell from here. But anyhow, I also wanted to add a little bit about, I'm not eating anything right now. I wanted to add a little bit about the diet. We were talking about that. And I chose to do a vegetarian diet because I'm A blood type. And I did the research on how do you know what's the best way to eat for you? And I did some research, and if you have a particular blood type, like B, O, all the various ones, I'm A. And A was suggested that A is a very weak blood type, and it's very prone to a lot of diabetes, heart problems, high cholesterol, all kinds of problems A's have. And they should really stick to a vegetarian diet and they live long. So I made my adjustment because I used to do meat, and to a vegetarian diet with very little fish, but some. And so basically, I had to make sure protein was key, how to get the protein, because meat gives you so much. And basically, if you're a 115-pound adult, you need about 68 grams of protein in a day, and you're not eating meat. And if you're 120 pounds, you need 70 grams or more. And so basically, I incorporated into my diet, make sure I have things like milk, yogurt, whole grain bread, um, some I do a little cheese, paleo string cheese, low fat mozzarella, only low fat cheeses, peanuts are like the best. And also, like I said, once a week, a little bit of salmon or the other fish that are listed. Salmon and cod are very good. And the brown rice, beans, I do the aduki beans, and also vegetarian pizza. That's fun. And another bean I do is the pinto bean. And basically, I wrote down which of those things I was eating and then added them up to see if I was on point with my protein. And I was. I just have to make sure I eat, though. I have to eat. And I can't always find these things out, so I have to do food prep and have the food available, or I'm going to eat other stuff and I don't even know what that's given me. Because I'm really interested in living. Yeah, I really am. Because there's a lot of work to do. I see it. I feel it. I know it. God's told me. And so I'm just sharing with you a little bit about that. There are other issues like the calcium, the iron, and I'm not going to talk about those right now, but at least I shared that with you about what you need, and you can take what's in your house that you're eating. And just, if you have a moment, just do a fun look. Flip them all on the back and add up how much protein is in them and the kind of meats that you eat if you do meat, and then add it up and see where you are in terms of your size. You might not be 115 or 120, but whatever your size is, look at the table for your weight and see if you're okay. And if you're not, get it better, because protein builds new cells and you constantly need that to be new and fresh and young. Yeah. So I took that out of my healthy lifestyle files. I had a little notes here that I keep. And I actually did that particular check back October 26, 2020. And so I'm going to move on. This is a review series for this that we've been doing, Build Back Better. I'm not saying that Build Back Better is over. It's always going to be going on. But we had the first one we talked about, which was Believe. And that was talking about continue to do what God has put us here to do. The things he showed us that are wrong, figure out a way that we can stop doing them, or ask him to help us, show us the path. And he will if we're sincere. And the things that we're doing at right, continue to thank him for giving us the nurturing that he needs to give us, and the wherewithal to make it happen. Like I got the car so I could do his work, which is loving others. Yeah, so I mean, it has to be what you're about, has to be worthwhile, and he has to carve it into your heart. So that we talked about that in Ephesians 6-11 reminds us to persevere and keep Christ as our center, who took away all the wrongs, and we're not going to worry about those. So then we moved on and we shared about nurturing our spirits. That was 4. We moved to number 2, which was back meditating on his love. And then I talked to you or shared with you a lot about how I meditate by getting all of my body to relax. And when you can do that and really get in touch with the Spirit, you are tilling the soil of your spirit. If you're a believer in the Lord and his Son and what he did for us, it's already there. You're just trying to help get it to get together. You want to till the soil of your human spirit and the godly spirit to be one, so that you can move forward and do these great things that God has for you to do, because you weren't put here for nothing, or to do sad stuff that you don't like. So we talked about that, how we can meditate and how important it is to do that, and that we have to keep going and counting on God to give us what it is we need, those directives. So that was another share. That was our second share about that. So then we moved on to 3, which was we're staying strong. And so we talked about that from 1 Corinthians 16, be on our guard, stand firm in our faith, that God is there for us, and be courageous and strong. And we talked about not really always being able to stay in touch with what we're doing, because we're so busy doing our tasks, taking care of our kids, taking care of a sick wife, taking care of a sick husband, taking care of a little kid you got to get here or there, big kid trying to do college. It's so many different things. It's a lot. Or by yourself trying to make a way, to have joy, So we are not to fear anything we've done in the past. We know that we're saved and created new in he that died for us, and know that power lives in us. And we talked about, I think this is a series where I talked about going to a service where we healed each other, and that's why I got this ability to testify out in public. Yeah. I'm not saying I'm screaming it everywhere, but I've been screaming it where I go, where people need to hear it. God just tells me when to say it, when to say what happened, And so how we can lay hands on ourselves and on others, we believers, and we have the same power in us that Jesus had. And we have to believe that and show up for God and his power, because the world needs us. So that was the last thing that we shared. That was the third. There is one more. And this one is really my favorite one. This is the one about nurturing our spirits. And we talked about going to Holy Communion. If you can't get out, do a Holy Communion yourself, and that it is symbolic. It's just a reminder of that blood and that flesh that was shed for us. And while we don't have to worry about our wrongs, we have to just do right the best we can and know that we're forgiven over and over again. And so participate in Holy Communion is a part of building back better and nurturing our spirits. Also through fasting, which is, I told you, the whole grain, yogurt, low-fat cheeses, it's all vegetables, fruits, it's all that, that we've already been talking about all along. And I wasn't really talking about fasting, but it just happens to be when I got to a place where I was being, spiritually uplifted by other God-centered ministers and scripture. I was told about what a fasting diet is like, and it's the diet I've been telling you. So I'm not saying you can't have exceptions, but I'm just saying this is what helps nurture our spirit, that kind of diet that I've been sharing with you. And so the Holy Communion, we talked about how you can do it yourself, but it's better to do it in a group. And then we talked about acts of mercy, which is calling the sick, sitting with the sick, feeding the hungry. And I told you about the cooler on the porch that I got from the homeless man that ended up growing into, I got a new cooler. I got a new cooler out here now. I do. Somebody gave me a new cooler. And so that's great. And it's fresh and new, and people are stopping that need it. And it's not a problem. It's a good thing. It just couldn't be better. And people even bring things to put in there for people that might need a lift. Because a lot of people are down and out, and it's our duty to keep them lifted up, because that's what's going to make the world better. People being lifted up in God's love. That's it. So that's basically the end of that whole Build Back Better series, the 4 things that I just named. And then we interjected a little bit of the eating healthy, because here it's a time of talking about that. And I'm not even going to say when it is, because I'm not trying to talk about the time, because it's appropriate all times, whether it's Easter, Christmas, New Year, whatever. It's always time to build back better, and the right time is now. Yeah. So let us continue to tell God we want to see him. Let us tell God that we want to do his works. and let us know that we need God in our lives. So this is the Sunday morning message on Thursday. Please continue to be as healthy as you can, and just continue to ask God to use us all to do his great work so we can just keep making this world better and better. And I am saying that we are all thankful for the possibilities, and we love you. Alrighty, until we talk again. Alrighty, bye-bye.